Chasing shadows where the seeds are sown. Fingers tapping on a Ouija board. Broken silence like a shattered chord. Eerie hums in the dead of night. Is it true?
Well, hello and good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Well,
Hello, how are you?
Very
we're
good.
well, Shane, you start. I'll share out in the groups and be quiet for a change.
Well, that never happens.
No, it doesn't.
Well, hello, everybody. We have Chris Mendace in the studio. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How about you guys? How are you guys
Yeah,
doing?
we're doing good. Now you're here, so
So
that's good.
I gotta say the intro is 10 out of 10.
Oh, thank you
Awesome
so much.
intro.
You make me blush.
uh, good. That's good. That's a good thing.
No, thanks. Um, would you like us to do us a favor and introduce yourself? What do you do? Who are you? And how
Yeah,
did
of
you
course.
start?
Sure. Um, so I'm Chris Mendes. I been doing the paranormal, investigating the paranormal for since 2017 now. Um, I pretty much I've been on a couple different documentaries on scarednetwork.tv. I'm now part of the Signal Network, which we're working on new projects and just going out and doing different investigations. One of the things that I like to do is basically just do investigations without knowing the locations, then sort of going back and looking into the history of the property to see if that, for whatever reason, matches to the activity that you're actually getting in these locations. And that's something that, like I said, I've been doing for a little while now. Of course, when I first started out, that was not how I was doing it. I was just going out and doing it, learning along the way. But it's still a learning process, as we all know.
Oh, yes, it is. Definitely is. Um, I thought you wanted to ask something.
Oh man, no
There replies your question.
way.
Well, like you said, you started out like, well, regular investigators, and now you start doing investigations without knowing any history. Can you tell viewers and listeners how you think these buildings are going to be haunted, if they are?
Sure. I'll rewind it back a little bit. I'll tell you why I started doing investigations that way. Um, when I was the reason I got involved in it is because of my own personal experiences. The main experience I had was at a house that I used to live in. Honestly, before like actually doing anything with the paranormal, I didn't believe in it. I thought it was BS. I didn't think it was real. I think a lot of it was made up. Up until I had my first experience, I was spending a lot of time at my old house by myself, and one of the very like first realistic experience that I had happened to be like a little girl coming up as I was watching TV, and I hear clear as day, "Can I have some chips?" At that time, I looked over because I have two kids of my own, two girls, and it's like, "No, you can't have no chips." So I looked, I looked over. I'm like, "Oh crap! Like they're not here. There's nobody here. It's nobody in the house." I'm like, "Ah man, something's going on there." So after that, I started hearing more and more things around the house to the point where I ended up calling a buddy of mine who was real big into the paranormal. Um, and he started doing an investigation of my old house. And within 20 minutes of setting up for the investigation, he set up several recorders in different locations. It was five total recorders. It was the old school Zoom recorders, and the batteries died within 20 minutes on all five recorders. So we started switching the batteries out, and I was walking with him. And luckily, we had a camera facing down the hallway, which covered all the rooms. And we had a recorder that we had just changed the batteries to in the living room of the house. Once we get to my bedroom, which is further away from where their living room was located, you hear, I heard, I'm not going to say you hear, I heard a woman clear as day saying hello. And it sounded like the old school, like microphones with the toy microphones with the little spring on the inside where it has that bassy echo. So I hear that, and I hear it clear as day. I heard hello, and I looked over at my buddy Mike, who was the one doing the investigation. I'm like, "Yo, did you hear that?" at this point, I'm freaking out. So I'm like, I definitely heard that. There's nobody in the house. We had completely isolated the house. The people that were also investigating were outside, inside of a shed, watching everything live from the different CCTV cameras that we had in the house. And he looks over at me. He's like, "Nah, I didn't hear anything." I'm like, "I swear to God, I just heard a woman saying hello." I freak out. I got so excited that I actually went over. "Hey, Courtney, how are you?" Courtney's actually a really good supporter, really good follower. She is amazing. They have their own podcast also.
Cool.
Hill City Paranormal. They're pretty cool people. But so I go back and we listened back to that recorder where we had just changed the batteries in the area where I heard the woman saying hello. And clear as day, you hear the same exact bassy female tone with like that bassy like echo saying hello the same exact way I explained it. And from that moment forward, I knew that it wasn't just me experiencing some of this stuff. It was actually happening. So with that being said, that was like one of my first experiences. So from there on, I joined Mike's group, and we started doing more and more investigations, and it leads me down to where I am now, like the reasons why I do the investigations the way that I do. And one of them was actually a residential case that we worked on. The lady was having issues at her home. Uh, the time her ex boyfriend had passed away, he passed away in the car accident. And anytime that she would bring like somebody she was dating at the time to the house, things would go haywire in the house. Like she would have drawers open, she would have all sorts of things. So we started doing investigation. We started focusing on it being, the ex boyfriend, which is what we originally thought. Um, After several hours of investigating, we weren't getting anything. The only thing that I kept hearing was a very like weird sound. It sounded like glass. It almost sounded like a wooden pencil hitting glass. And I heard that from the minute I walked into the house and throughout the entire investigation. So, being that we weren't really getting anything, we ended up kind of shifting the investigation into what I was hearing. And long story short, we came to find out that it was actually her grandfather, had nothing to do with what she had originally told us. Um, Her grandfather had given her it was some wooden brushes, paintbrushes for her children, that she wanted them to keep safe, and it was like very sentimental to him at the time when obviously he passed away. Well, she had recently pulled them out of the box that he had given her in, and had given them to the children, and they ended up breaking one of them, and that's when the activity ended up picking up. So I started tracing the sound that I was hearing from, and actually led right back to where all the brushes were inside of a glass vase. Um, I took one of the little brushes and I tapped the vase, and it was the same exact sound we were hearing the entire night. Once we started focusing on that, we started like actually getting more activity and interacting with what was there. But that's one of the things that actually started shifting my mindset on really not focusing on the information that you have at hand, and just focusing on the location itself and seeing how the location speaks to you, and just focusing on the things that you're getting without really focusing on the knowledge that you already have beforehand. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense also because people jump into conclusions and sometimes they completely have it at the wrong end and it's something different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Because it was definitely one of those things that, not really knowing at the time like how to conduct investigations, and I was, like I said, it was a learning curve for me. But it was also a learning curve for the groups, as they were doing it a lot longer than I was doing it. But it was one of those things that just clicked, and I'm like, you know what? Let me start trying this. And that's what you don't see a lot of times nowadays. You don't really focus on the who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah.
A lot of people just focus on who's here. What are you doing? Like, talk to me. No, focus on the possibilities of different things happening. Focus on what you're kind of like seeing and what you're feeling, and all of that. Um,
Yeah.
and, and and I feel like that kind of like leads to a better investigation per se. But like I
I
said, it's a learning curve. I'm still learning. I'm still Anybody says they're an expert in this is never really an expert. I don't think
No,
they're an expert yet.
Mm,
like you said, it's a learning process every single day. Well, like you said, and that's something I find interesting with investigators nowadays. They still go to buildings they know the history of, and they will focus on that history and what happened there, and forget all the things that aren't registered. And so, like you said, who are you? What happened to you? And they continue on. Like, did a fire? If, for instance, if there's a fire in a building, there was a fire there. They will focus on that fire. And like, yeah, but there's more people who could have died there. Why don't focus on that one? So it's very good to do investigations without knowing the history, and then afterwards find out what the history is, and then it copes with the investigation.
yeah,
Yeah, I like
It's,
that.
it's definitely interesting. And then the more, like I said, the more I started focusing on that, the more I started trying to study like the pareidolia aspect of things. Like, you go in there with that mindset already. So your brain's automatically going to be looking for those responses. You're going to be focusing on those responses, and your brain will play tricks on you.
yeah,
It'll make you think like, did I hear that? Now your brain's trying to put two and two together. Now you're going to believe that you heard that because that's what you were originally thinking of. You know what I mean? Which, like I said, like, it's just interesting in itself. I can go in a whole black hole about this. I felt a black hole, like literally just looking different possibilities, different ways of trying to understand and trying to bring more credibility to the things that you actually see
Yeah,
and the experiences that you have. And that was probably one of the best ways that I can think of. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. um, since then, I've been, like I said, traveling all over, just investigating different locations. And just having, as of recently, I've had some really good captures. And I'll tell you what, there's for as good of the amounts of captures that I have an equal amounts of no captures, of no activity, no. Literally, like there's times where I've gone to a location, investigated. It just happened this past time. I went to 3 different locations to film for the Signal Network, and one out of the 3 locations was extremely active. The second one we didn't really get anything, and then the second one we had like maybe 1 or 2 things happen. Uh, but that's always fun to me. When I don't get anything, I actually get excited because you're doing the right thing. Like you're like not focusing and looking at everything, trying to find like an explanation for everything that you see. Um,
yeah,
which I think I think is neat.
yeah, it is. And it's my favorite way to do investigations. I jump in completely blank, don't know the history, don't want to hear complaints from the people who live in a building. I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. Because you are so much more open to more possibilities and you have more focus on the normal things. Is it the plumbing? Is it electricity? Is it the wood floor? And I'm in my head, I'm always debunking. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I recreate
recreate.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a mad woman investigating with me. And
Well,
she,
trust
yeah,
me, she'll jump off a chair, stairs to find out if it's dead or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
She'll jump
listen.
right in front of the camera like, ah, it's funny.
Has there been a time where you guys have actually like been scared at a location that you've investigated, or have actually like made you run or like scream or?
No, I made myself scream. I don't know if that counts. I
What
was I
about you,
was in
man?
a I was in a forest outside investigation, and I stepped back and I scared myself by stepping on the branch, and the branch grabbed my ankle. That scared the living shit out of me, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" I looked
Yeah,
down. I was like, "Oh, it's a branch. God damn it!"
that's hilarious. Yeah, I've actually I ran twice. I've
You
actually
did?
physically ran. Yeah, actually the second time was actually pretty funny. I ended up pushing a friend of mine over, kind of hopped over and took off. Once I realized, I'm like, oh man, I left her behind. I had to do the walk of shame and go back to her and be like, hey, I'm sorry, you okay?
What made you run? What made you?
Uh,
What
yeah, it's a
happened?
funny. It's kind of funny, but not funny. So we were doing West Virginia State Penitentiary in West Virginia, and there was probably six of us, and we're walking through a dark hallway. We're getting ready to go to the cafeteria portion of the penitentiary, and there was a split right as you're going to the cafeteria, and me and this lady started hearing what we thought was whispers coming from the split. So if you kept going straight, you would have ended up at the cafeteria. But the one area was the area where we were hearing the whispers and the very faint talking. So we ended up following it, not realizing that we completely split off from the group. Now the group had kept walking towards the cafeteria area. We were still making our way to the voices, and we get to a certain area where like it's pitch black in there, so I really couldn't see. I was just looking through the night vision camera in my hand, and I all I can remember is actually like stepping on the floor. It's like a little kind of like a hump, like as it slightly goes up, like the floor slightly goes up, and as soon as my feet hit the hump, I actually stopped because the voices stopped. So we're sitting here like now trying to re kind of gather ourselves and try to figure out like where we're at. And within seconds, I hear like a very close whisper to my ears, just saying "Hey," followed by a cell door closing as hard as it could. And I don't know if you're familiar with those old penitentiaries; they're empty. The hallways are very empty. Once you hear that sound of a metal like clashing, it just echoes throughout the entire area.
Yeah.
Well, the "Hey" followed by the door closing definitely startled me. Pushed her out of the way, and I was out. I was gone. I left. I was it. That was a little too much at that time. And then followed by a whole bunch of other things that happened afterwards. But it was fun. But I definitely made me run. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that would probably make me run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was
there are
it was
two options: you freeze or you run.
Yep.
You can't fight because there's nothing, there's nobody. So,
yeah, yeah. There's no fight or flight with ghosts. There's
Nope.
only flight.
no, you're losing, you're losing.
That's great.
Yeah,
So what
absolutely.
what what made you guys get into the paranormal?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, as a child, I've seen apparitions near my bedroom, and I was three max, and I was so scared, and I had it throughout my whole youth. People coming up the stairs, except I was alone, knocking on doors, hearing German voices in the living room, and I played a Ouija board, of course, and we connected and got German answers. And then when I was 18, I met my biological father, and he's psychic. And he told me all about the paranormal, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with me, it started when I lived in my parents' home. It was 12, no, younger, 10, maybe 11. Um, I was asleep and I woke up with a full-bodied apparition sitting on my bed. And I had no idea ghosts even existed, so that scared the living shit out of me. I didn't know I could be so white, but I was white. And I put my blanket back up, and after I think 15, maybe 30 minutes, I came back up to see if it was still there. Later on, I found out he's my spirit guide and he is my great grandpa because I saw him the way he was when he died. And I saw a picture at my mom's old photos, and I was like, "Who is that man?" I saw him. And she was like, "That's not possible because he died when you were one." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And that's the moment I was like, okay, so spirits exist. What can I do with them? And then I found my then wife, now wife, then a friend of mine, and she was very spiritual and believed in the paranormal. She practiced witchcraft and everything. We got to talk, and we've been friends ever since. And we've been doing things in the paranormal ever since we were 10, 11. We started
Oh wow,
investigating when I was 16. So
it's interesting. It's very
yeah,
it's especially like being that young. It's almost like hard to really comprehend what's happening and what you know
oh, yeah,
whether or not. I mean, I get it. I don't know if like in the Netherlands is like how it used to be like here with um, my family. When you're growing up, obviously that was like taboo. Like nobody wanted to talk about it. You weren't supposed to talk about it. Nobody even wanted to admit that it existed because it was looked upon. Like
Yeah.
or, so I remember like when I was younger having similar experiences, but I was always told just to keep your mouth shut. That's not real. You're just seeing things, and you've kind of like I feel like we've kind of like grow out of that like ability to be able to see and hear things, and it's not until like we probably get older now that it's becoming more normalizing. I think a lot of people are being able to see and hear things more than what they were used to.
yeah.
But that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I do have to say, and I have to admit, my family never said I didn't have to talk about it because it's bull crap or whatever. I just didn't talk about it outside of my family because they think it's bullshit and you're crazy and you're seeing things.
Yeah.
But around my family, they were pretty easy to talk to when it comes to
Okay.
spirits. They even hired me to cleanse their house. They do that. So
Yeah.
they believe enough to let me cleanse their house, so I never had
That's
that problem. But my wife, she did have that problem a lot. Yeah, she
okay.
did.
Yeah.
She was not supposed to talk about it, and it was all in her head, and she was crazy. But
Yeah.
she learned to live with it. And like you said,
Yeah.
it became easier as soon as she got older for her.
Yeah. Especially when you come around other people that are actually doing it and you feel more
Yeah,
comfortable talking about it. It actually opens you up a lot more, and then you start thinking, and you're like, oh man, um, I'm talking to you guys and reading some of the comments. I have Courtney here saying, "Chris, I'm pulling your cop credit." It's kind of funny. Um, but yeah, the more like I said, the more you do it and the more people you meet that actually have the similar experiences will actually allow you to open up more about it. And in terms, I feel like it does open you up in a way to be able to kind of mesh more with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, it's actually one of the questions I put out recently was, do you believe that by doing paranormal investigations, does that like make you more susceptible to actually seeing it, hearing it, and connecting with it? Um, which a lot of people don't think about it, but I feel like the more I've done this, the more connected I am with like the supernatural realm, like the more activity and experiences I experience.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that's something that it's a possibility, or is that something like maybe it was just in our heads that were, you know what I mean?
No, I do think that's a possibility, although I do have to say, because there's some investigators that are very skeptical and they will never be open for that. Even if they do 1,000 investigations, as long as they are skeptic and don't believe, even if it's in right in front of their noses,
Yeah.
they're not going to be open for it. But like us, we are open to it. I think it will eventually work out to be more open as long as you keep on investigating.
I think the more you investigate, the more you become sensitive for other energies, and you will be able to filter the feelings you get. Um, is it the breeze? Is it energy? Is it static? So you learn more, and you get to be more aware of your own senses, of your own body, um, all that kind of stuff. And the first time, it's nothing like that. But if I go in a building and it's highly charged, I get nausea and sometimes even sick. And I didn't have it in the first investigations I have. And I have to step back and go in again. And then 9 out of 10 times it's okay. But I had also in a location here in the Netherlands, I get the taste of, how do you call it? Ether. Uh, it's some kind of,
Sulfur.
hmm?
Sulfur.
No, it's not
That's it.
sulfur. Ether. They called it ether, and they use it for minor operations. And I got that taste in my mouth, and my head kept spinning. I had to get out, get in, get out, get in, and it kept coming back. Afterwards, we looked into the history of the location, and they did minor surgeries using that stuff on the children to pull foods, to get them stitches, and also to have them sexually abused. So that's why I keep tasting it. But after that, I didn't have that kind of taste in my mouth anymore, luckily.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting how like some investigations can actually affect you physically also, like you're
yeah,
explaining.
Yeah.
I've seen it in the past. We investigated a place called Penhurst Asylum, and the one night that we investigated was actually like very active, but it was also interacting and affecting people's. Uh, it was affecting everybody physically. Like the one guy, same thing, felt sick. We had a female that at one point we had to close the entire section off. Ended up affecting her to where, like, in my opinion, I think she was jumped. Like something jumped into her body. It was like kind of interfering with the things that she was doing to the point where we had to pull everybody out of the building and actually close the building off. And that's what we're doing. So she actually collapsed as soon as she broke the threshold from the building to the exterior of the building. Now, it still had the spirit box running. It actually came through saying "F you" with her name at the same exact moment she collapsed, which was interesting. But it was one of those things that she was part of the staff and she worked there part time, and for whatever reason, she became very attached to that location, that
Hmm.
specific building in itself, and you can definitely see the difference from being outside of the building to being inside of the building, like the way it interacted with her and affected her physically and mentally, which was interesting. Very, it's very odd to see like the different interactions like with people's psychological abilities when they go into a location and come out of it. Um, but I see it doing the paranormal and I see it on my normal job on a daily basis. So it it plays a lot into it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Must have been terrifying for her.
Yeah. To be honest with you, we talked to her afterwards. She was out probably like maybe 35 seconds to a minute, like just passed out on like right outside of the door, the threshold, and it was almost like she had no recollection of anything that happened while she was in there.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah, it was very odd.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's
But
say the least.
yeah,
absolutely.
I
But
saw. Sorry. Go
you
ahead.
have an explanation for lost time
yeah,
because she can't remember anything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, my boy Sean. There you go. He said, "What's my next big investigation?" As of right now, I don't think have one set up. It's supposed to be actually. at the beginning of next year, we're supposed to be doing something together. But as of right now, I kind of shut everything off up until the beginning of the year. So I got a lot of videos to catch up on, to edit and get them all out. I think I have a total of like 8 videos right now that need to go out. Um, hopefully something big. Sean, you just let me know when, where, we'll be there. But yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's the end of the
what do you-
year, so you have to work. You have to make the videos come out.
yeah, it's it's fun going and investigating, but once you have to put these videos together, is a pain.
Oh yeah,
The whole editing process takes
oh yeah.
forever, especially when you're
Yeah.
doing it yourself.
Do you do
Um,
the editing yourself?
I do, yes, yeah,
Uh,
yep. I do all the the editing, all the filming, everything. Just it's a one man show.
cool.
Yep, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yep. What
Yeah,
Um,
about you guys? You guys have any investigations coming up soon?
not
uh,
very soon. Like I think it's going to be next year.
yeah, we have to postpone to next year
Yeah,
because we need a big team. It's in the north, and there are several things going on. Animal mutilation, I think, and also activity in the home. And it's not a location to go on your own or just the two of us. So we're trying to reach out to a few investigators and to
yeah.
go there with a group. So, and maybe residential might be put in between now and the end of the year, but we have to see.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys actually have to deal with like animal mutilation. Like, do you consider that like a paranormal case, or would you consider that more like a UFO like type of
Um, I'm
extraterrestrial?
I'm pretty skeptic. It can be a person who is just hating those animals, but you have also a wooden area, so you have to consider maybe a wolf because they are here as well. Um, Wild cats. So there are so many options. So I don't think it has anything to do with UFOs
No.
because I didn't hear anything about sightings in the area over there. So I might skip that as well. So yeah, I don't think it's paranormal, but we'll see.
Melvin says, "What's the location?" I am nieuwsgierig. Nieuwsgierig is the Dutch word for curious. That's another word. It's somewhere in Groningen. No, Kelvin.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I'm kind of interested in that investigation you're talking about because I'll tell you a story. When I was growing up, I think I've told it to maybe a couple other people in the past. I used to. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, so I grew up in Puerto Rico. Before I came to the United States, I actually like grew up there. I was there till I want to say like 9, 10 years old. Um, One of the things that was big in Puerto Rico, and one of that was he talked about it was uh, the actual name for it was El Vampiro de Mocha, which is the Mocha vampire, which is that area like vampires. The reason they called it that is because there was a lot of animal mutilation around that time. Like we lived in a very like highly populated farm area, and a lot of us had goats, sheep's, chickens, pigs, and for a period of time there, there was a lot of chickens that were being found that were mutilated, but they considered a mutilation as in the blood completely being sucked out of the chicken, and it would leave like two actual holes near the neck area. And I remember being younger and actually going to one of the farms nearby, like where we lived, and physically seeing over 70 to 80 chickens, could be even upwards to 100, just laid out by the farmer overnight, showing like the two holes and the blood that was completely like drained from the chickens. And at the time, like, yeah, we do have things that could cause that, but I don't see it causing that many chickens overnight and being able to completely drain the blood out of them. So that was like a big thing back in the day, like in our town, and that nobody really had an explanation for. And I don't think they have an explanation until to this day. Um, but it's interesting because I'd be curious to see what kind of mutilation it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Same. Like we said, we are very skeptic if it comes to animal mutilation. Usually, it's just either a person or it's an animal. Um, that kind of mythical being that you just described, we don't have that here in the Netherlands. So if
Yeah,
we do have it, if we find out, I will have to call you because we have something going on then. But no,
yeah,
I don't think that is one of the cases here.
yeah.
But we will keep in touch if it comes to that because
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting. I can actually
yeah,
probably look up some of the articles from back in the day and actually be able to pull it up and send it to you guys. See if you guys need it. That way, you
if
have something to
if you
reference
would
if it
like to
does.
send that, I would
Yeah,
very much appreciate it because I really dig into that kind of history.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's very interesting.
And I know for a while, like in the area that we used to live in, there was a lot of military programs that they had at the time, which they were like experimenting with different types of animals and things like that, um, which caused like an outbreak of monkeys in the area. Like some monkeys got loose, and now there's monkeys all over Puerto Rico. But that's where it originally started from, like those
Yeah.
experiments that they were doing with different types of animals and things of that nature. Um, but yeah, I'll send you some articles when I can definitely, I guarantee you I can definitely find articles from like back in that day.
That'd be cool.
Because I remember, like I'm telling you, like I remember clear as day sitting there, and like actually the newspapers coming out and taking pictures of all the chickens that were laid out in the farm, like as the farmer was showing them, and everybody just thought he was making things up, and but was he? I don't know. But at the same time, there were chickens that were dead with no blood on them overnight. Like unless he actually sat there and like drained every single blood out of the chicken, it's I don't I till this day I don't see how that was even possible.
Don't
Yeah.
think. No, no, I don't think so. You would have found something
Yeah,
of
Ex-
evidence.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah,
Puerto Rico, don't they have chupacabra over there?
they do. So at
Yeah.
first, like that was the initial like thought and origin behind the whole thing, but it was a lot of the claims with like the chupacabra usually were like actual mutilations where the animals would be destroyed and ripped to pieces, and that's what they would find. But with this itself, it was more of just like a vampire type of attack where it was actually just draining the blood from the animal and just leaving them like drained, which was interesting. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if the story itself is more interesting to me only because I was actually able to witness the animals that were drained from it. You know what I mean? But then again, I was younger, so maybe in my head it was a lot worse than what it is. But they, like I said, it went around for quite some time. Like that was like the big old new chupacabra style of that whole Puerto Rico section. Um, Actually, let me see if I can find it. Maybe I can share it with you if I can find it real fast.
Should be able to.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
me see. I'm type it in right now. I'll tell you. Boom. Oh yeah, there we go. There's a WordPress. Yeah, if it goes back to the '90s. Let me see if I can post a link here so everybody can look at. Let me know if it come up.
Uh,
Yep. Came. Um, Actually, like talks about like a lot of what I just explained. Let's see if they have actual videos or pictures.
Yeah, like I said, I like reading about um, beings from a Latin world, Celtic, you name it. I find it interesting
Yeah.
because I was born in the wrong country. I know for sure.
Yeah, me
because
too.
here we have nothing, or at
Really?
least we have a couple of things which I do not find very interesting because I'm like, right, that's it. And then I read something from Puerto Rico or from the Ireland, Scotland, you name it, and I'm reading
Yeah.
like, oh my, why don't we have that? I want that too. See,
That's
I was born in the wrong country. Keep
Yeah, it
saying
Yeah,
that.
makes it, it makes you it makes you think, but then you get excited because now you want to go there and try to experience, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yep.
Yep.
That's kind of that's kind of where I'm at. I've always wanted to go to Ireland to be able to go to, like, to try to do an investigation at a castle, any castle. I don't care what castle it is, as long as it's a castle. Like one of my bucket list things to do.
Yeah. I have the same problem. I'm still waiting for the lottery to fall.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they have beautiful castles in Germany as
Oh
well.
yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they are huge.
I'd love
They
to
are.
visit.
Yeah,
I would love to visit. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it is. They are.
yeah. They have that one castle, Frankenstein's castle. That's also in Germany. Oh, it's just marvelous.
It
Yeah,
is. I have to look up which one it is, but I know the castle. And
yeah.
Yeah,
it's big.
It's not that far of a drive from here,
No,
so
that's
I need
awesome.
to go. I need to go.
it's a road
That'd
trip
be
for next year.
Yeah, that'd be a next year bucket list.
I have a huge bucket list.
Oh yeah.
Talking about bucket lists, what's yours?
Oof. I think right now my top three bucket lists are, two out of the three are in. Actually, no, all three are in California. One of them is the Winchester Mansion. Always wanted to
Yeah,
investigate that. Um, the theories and everything behind that mansion just screams supernatural to me. So it just makes me want to, like, go there as much as I can. Um, the second one is Alcatraz, the prison. Always
yes,
want to investigate that as well. Like, obviously, there's a lot of history behind that location, especially with those three inmates that,
yeah,
try to escape. They still can't tell whether or not they did escape or didn't escape, or if they even made it out. Um, and then the third one is, uh, Alcatraz, Winchester. Jeez, I just had it at the top of my head. Um, Definitely in California. Dang, I just went away.
new
Yeah,
spots,
that
new
we'll
spots.
do with those two, but those the third one, dang, I can't even remember.
It will come back to
Ooh,
you.
yeah, brain just. uh, but yeah, those are, at least those two are like my number one, like, once to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
but
My bucket list is too long for America. I have to stay at least 3 months.
what is it?
I have to stay in America for at least 3 months if I want
Oh
to do
yeah,
my bucket list over there.
yeah,
There's too much buildings there that I want
yeah,
to go to.
there's plenty. Listen, I live on in New Jersey is where I'm at, and everything just seems far for me to actually go investigate. But there's a lot of locations like near me that are actually interesting. I have a place called Fort Delaware. It's Fort Delaware. The second name for it is Pea Patch Island. It literally sits in the middle of the Delaware River. It sits in the middle of the river. It's a little island. It's a fort. So they used it back in World War II. I believe it was World War II.
yeah,
Um, and that place is active. The only way to get there is with a boat. You get there, and we investigated it twice. Um, and you'll see and hear some stuff. The most craziest thing I think I've ever seen there was my first. I wouldn't even say full body apparition. 'Cause it wasn't a full body apparition, but it was actually like a visible, like, apparition you can see with your naked eye. Like, we ended up seeing what looked like a soldier's foot with his boot, and you can see his uniform, like the stripe on his uniform pants coming down as he was, like, taking a step. And it was like misty. It had just rained that day, so there was some little fog outside, so it made it even creepier. Um, but it was me and the guy that was running the whole paranormal investigation, and we ended up seeing it, and we both looked at each other. I was like, "Nah, we didn't see that. Like, there's just no way, no way we saw that." We both described the same thing. So till this day, I mean, I still never forget that whole moment. Nobody else was there to see it other than just me and him. There was no cameras or nothing, so you can't really, there's no evidence to back it up. But I know what I saw. He knows exactly what he saw. So
Yeah.
I'll never forget that spot. It's definitely cool.
Yeah, that's something I hate. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. The personal experience. I love it,
Yes.
but I can't
Yes.
prove anything.
Yep.
Yep. So I'll tell you what. I invested in one of those 360 cameras, and so far that thing has come in handy.
I
The
still have
most
to get
recent,
some. I have to
yeah,
get one.
yeah, the most recent investigation I did, I actually got lucky. To be honest with you, it was it's called the Convent Tattoo Shop and Studio, and it's actually not far from my house. The owner there, Sophia, she's really cool. Lets me investigate whenever I want to go there. So I reached out to her. I was like, "Hey, listen, like, what are you doing today? Let me go out there and investigate." She was fine with it. We started doing our investigation. I have a little light. It's called an O light. It's a little circle, like the kind of like brightens up the entire room with like a very low light, just enough for the 360 camera to actually see the whole room, which is perfect. So I set the light next to the um, camera, and right towards the end of the night, I went up there to make sure the battery was still good on it, that it was still recording. So I go to reach for the light, and as I'm reaching for the light, I get very close to it, and the entire light just slides across on the wood portion of where it was sitting on. And as it slid across, uh, you can see me on the camera because you can pan and tilt the camera all over wherever you want to look at. I was like, that just didn't happen. Like I was in disbelief that it happened. Like I couldn't believe it. So thank God there was somebody else there next to me that saw it happen. They're like, oh, like that light just slid across. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. um, and sure enough, I went back to the camera. I was able to like tilt the camera down to where it actually captured the light, and you see it clear as day sliding across.
Wow.
After I showed it to Sophia, she actually reminded me that she had a camera facing, like a security camera facing the same area where my camera was facing. So it captured the other angle of the light just sliding across as I was
Wow.
reaching for it. Coolest thing, like probably one of the coolest things I think I've ever experienced.
That
It
is
was definitely neat.
Amazing.
Yep,
um,
but she has so that I don't know if you guys are familiar with it with that tattoo shop, but that tattoo shop has been on Ghost Hunters.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, I think I've seen it on one or two shows. If I
yeah,
didn't fall asleep, just to be honest.
yeah. So ever since she was on the show, they a lot of people started reaching out to her and sending her all sorts of different haunted artifacts and objects, and she gets new boxes every day of just different haunted objects
Yeah,
coming in. So much so that she ended up making a whole museum in her basement of just all these like haunted objects, and the museum is not even big enough to hold everything. It still like lingers around the entire tattoo shop. And there's 3 stories. Um,
that's so cool.
wow.
there's,
That's so cool.
yeah, there's just so many things there. It's definitely a neat spot. It's definitely cool.
Yeah,
Um,
isn't that the tattoo shop, which the main building is built from two different houses?
yes, yeah, yep.
Yep.
There was two separate. It was like an addition. Like the one was originally there, and then they ended up getting the other section from another house down the road.
Yeah.
They ended up bringing it there and combining both together,
Yeah.
which was neat. It's definitely cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like that place, as much as I've investigated it, always teaches me something new, especially like in the investigation aspect. One of the coolest thing I captured there. I think my videos on the Signal Network with my investigation there. There's a shadow figure that I captured on a static camera, left a night vision camera in her piercing room that was facing the hallway. Well, the way the hallway is placed, even if you walk on any other section of the hallway, you're not going to cast a shadow figure to the hallway. So I was reviewing the video footage. We were there for like 6 hours when I filmed there, and obviously, when you have multiple cameras and you have to review every single camera, you get bored. So I'm reviewing that camera. And I was just sitting there static, and I start fast forwarding it. I fast forward the video like pretty quick. Like I was just like moving through it really fast to see if anything actually made itself known or I was able to see any shift in the room. And sure enough, I see like this one shadow figure that comes up at the end of the hallway. Another shadow figure comes up. Looks like they're talking. And somehow this shadow figure overtakes the first shadow figure and they disappear. I'm like, that's interesting. I said, I don't think that was us. So I looked at the time frame, matched the time frame to the other camera that I was using, and we weren't even near there while we were investigating. But the most interesting part is that when I actually played the video at normal speed, you can't see it. It doesn't appear like you don't see the shadow figures at all. Come to find out, the shadow figures are moving so slow that you're not going to see it with your naked eye as you're watching the video at normal speed. The only way you can see it if you fast forward it at 200 times the speed, then you see the actual movement, the shadow figure overtake the other shadow figure and they disappear. So I
Wow.
sat. It took me probably like an hour to figure that out because I kept going back to it. I'm like, I know this is the time frame, but it's not showing up, and it would only show up when I fast forward. So once I started putting two and two together, I'm like, that's what's going on. I can't see it in normal time. It's only if you fast forward it. Now, touching back a little bit into that theory, that whole scenario of that incident that happened, I just recently investigated this place, and it's called this location with the whole shadow figure with the haunted tattoo shop is called the Convent Tattoo Shop. I investigated this location in PA. That's a church, as an abandoned church. I won't even say abandoned. This lady ended up, Miranda's her name. She ended up buying the church, and she set up cameras all inside the church. She actually made it into a tattoo shop, and the church's name is the Coven Tattoo Shop instead of the Convent Tattoo Shop. So there's some similarities there. The Convent Tattoo Shop, the museum portion, is named the Church of the Dead. The Church of the Dead, which is Ecclesia Mortis, I believe is the actual name of it, but it stands for the Church of the Dead. Well, it has a similarity to the church that is now called the Convent Tattoo Shop, which is a tattoo shop, and they also hold concerts in, but also has a lot of paranormal activity. With that being said, when I investigated, we had a lot of different things that happened. We had a camera turned back towards us. That little girl comes through the camera, says, "Hey, what are you doing there?" Nobody has access to that camera other than the owner. The owner was there with us. Um, we had some bells that went off by themselves, like literally just hit, and you can watch them like rock back and forth, and they were like actually like they were poltergeist.
Cool.
Uh, but what I'm getting to is the theory of that whole video of it having to fast forward the video to see the shadow figures. After I told the owner of the Coven tattoo shop, after I told her about the incident that I had at a convent, she went back and started looking through like her videos and everything. And one of the videos that she saw was actually a quick blur of a shadow or some sort of light coming through the camera. But she did the opposite. She slowed the video down and looked at the video. And in the video, you can see clear as day a full body apparition just right on the video. That little flash was actually like a full body apparition that showed up on camera. And the only way you can see it is if you pause it and you go back to that section and see it. I just thought it was cool because there's just so many different similarities to both of those locations that I don't know. It was there's no such thing as coincidence in my eye, and that was one of those coincidence moments.
Yeah, but the fact that she had to slow it down compared to the other one, you had to fast forward to see it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Think about that. I have to rewatch a lot of tapes. I think.
Yeah.
I think you need to look into a few.
And that's the thing, like both of those, like especially the convent one, I caught an accident. If I would have never like fast forward the video, I would have never caught it. I would have never known it was there.
Yeah, it's
So that
intuition.
brings me back to like how many investigations do you go on that you review the video and how many things are you actually missing while
Yeah,
you're doing the evidence review? Um,
Yeah,
probably a lot.
yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
definitely
because
cool.
I can remember when I used to put out videos from my investigations, which I didn't do a lot lately, the last
Yeah,
couple of years, um, because we didn't have major investigations. We usually do residential, and that's private, so we're not going to put that online. But I remember that I put one online which was in a forest, and they saw a black blob coming towards my screen, and there were no bugs surrounding. We slowed it down, so it wasn't a bug. We have no idea what it was, but I missed it during my reviews. But
yeah,
it was there, and I was like, why didn't I see that when I was looking at it? That was weird.
yeah,
Oh, you miss it.
Yeah, that's the same thing with that investigation we did together with that kid with the video, and you see lights flickering.
Oh yeah,
And I was watching, and I was almost screaming, "What was that? What was that?"
yeah,
In the corner, you saw something like a shadow. So I thought it was his finger, his hand, a strap from the camera. Well, we tried to debunk it, and I ended up jumping down the stairs and up and down, and we couldn't debunk it. So it was some kind of shadow.
yeah.
yeah,
But very quickly, I think 1, 2, 3 frames max.
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely neat. Um, there's something I was gonna ask you. Is there anything like like an investigation, like let's say when you go in to investigate, where anything that you've captured where you've actually like not realized what it was up until somebody else reviewed it? Um, you Shane, you kind of covered that already, but there was I don't know if like there was anything else that you guys might have even captured like prior to that. You know what I mean? Um, that you still like till this day you still can't acknowledge or comprehend what's on that video.
No, except from that video, not really.
No.
No,
I haven't.
that's the
Not
only.
yet. You never know. But,
Yeah.
Well, that one video in the basement, that
oh yeah, we had a death rattle.
disgusting sound.
Yeah, we were investigating a basement of a apartment building. Um, there was a lot of bikes there, and supposedly it was haunted. And we were like, "Well, we'll check it out." I have no idea. I'm open to everything, so we just started walking around, filming it. Didn't hear anything during the time, and as soon as we started reviewing it, my wife helps me review the EVPs because she has a good hearing for it. And she was like, "Oh my god, that sounds horrible." And I was like, "What? What did I do? What did I do wrong?" I thought it was me. And she was like, "No, no, no, it's not you. Listen to this." And I put on my headphones, and you can hear a clear as day death rattle from somebody just dying. And I was like, "Eh, that's nasty. That
Yeah,
sounds nasty in my ears." But
yeah,
that's so I have no idea what it was because we never heard
That's
anything during the time.
that's interesting. That's cool.
And as far as we know, nobody died there.
no, outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside, but
Yeah, outside, not
not
in
in
the
the apartment
building.
building. No.
No.
Well, have
So
you looked into the property of the building at all, like to the history of the
Yeah,
property?
yeah,
yeah.
we have problems there because that's the Netherlands. We do not document a lot.
And
So
if it's
there's
documented, they destroy it.
yeah,
But I could find some articles. There was a guy stabbed in front of the building,
Yeah.
and he died afterwards in the hospital. So that couldn't explain the sound. And there was a disaster with
Huh.
fireworks in the area. And if you hear loud banging, okay, we can explain it. And if you hear screaming, we can explain it. But not that disgusting, that rattling sound.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it. No,
No. And
That's
not with the
I
history.
always say, if Mary doesn't find the history about that building, it's non-existent.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. I live in Arnhem, and the city is well known from a bridge too far. I live on war zone, so I can find out anything. And we went to a location, and we had clear contact with two children. And during the investigation, I kept on repeating, it's not possible, it's not possible. It can't be, it can't be. There weren't any children here, not even during the war. They went outside the city. It can't be. So I kept on searching archives, and I found one article. It was the back entrance of uh, orphanage. That's where we had the investigation.
oh
So
wow.
the kids were correct. It took me 4 years to find out eventually. Just one article. They changed
Wow.
they changed the settings in the area. So they split up everything, and the back area of the building became a new building with a house on top, a shop downstairs. So that's what was the only mention of the orphanage on that place.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's interesting because it's funny you have the kid story
yeah,
going back to Penhurst Asylum. In Penhurst, we were investigating. It was the same night where like everything was happening and the whole like vibe of the place was crazy per se, like the easiest word to say. um, I was investigating in one area of the one building, and we started hearing what sounded like it was kids. But Penhurst Asylum has like a metal mesh in between the steps, so that mesh, which was always like a fence, that used to keep people from jumping over the steps back in the day. Well, come to find out, we hear what we thought was kids. We heard like little kids giggling, and it was like they were like laughing and playing with each other. That day it had rained, and there was about like maybe half an inch of water in the basement portion of it because it leaked. Well, we hear like kids, what sounds like kids coming up the steps, running up the steps with a tin can, rubbing it on the metal mesh as they were like giggling. And I looked over at Paul, was the guy that was with me at the time. I looked over at him like, "You hear that?" He's like, "Yeah." So we ended up taking off, and we ran towards where we thought we heard it. And sure enough, we ended up finding little kids' barefoot footprints, wet footprints on the floor, on the dirt that was already built onto the actual floor, coming up the steps. I have a picture of that still to this day. Um, but there were barefoot little kids' footprints. Then we started looking back into it, and we learned that there were kids that were kept there back in the day. So a lot of kids that had that had some like developmental like disabilities that weren't quite all there back during that time frame. That was also looked down upon for families that have children with like mental disabilities. So a lot of times when they did, they brought them to this facility and left them there, like, and then they would just leave them there just for the facility to take care of them. And it's kind of sad because they essentially would just abandon their kids to this facility. And yeah, that same location where we heard it, it's actually where they used to keep the kids, which it's cool that you had that experience because it kind of like shows that there's some sort of pattern there. Like, I don't know, that kind of history always kind of like comes back and repeats itself even when it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
it
So I want
is.
to
It
see if I
is.
still see if I still have that picture. I don't know if I can send it to you guys.
That'd be cool.
Let me take a look here. I think I have it on my phone somewhere. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I still do. Let me send. I go on Facebook from here. I can. Where are we at?
Here.
Well,
Very
let me take. I have the picture. I'm just trying to send it to you now as we speak. Trying to see if I can find you over here. Not coming up. Let's see.
Messenger at his
There we
best.
go. I found you. I'm gonna send it to you, Mary. Let's see.
Okay.
Um, I just forward it over. Let me know if you got it on Facebook.
Nope.
Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, I'm in Messenger, but I didn't get it.
I'm gonna send it to the Things Netherlands page also.
Okay.
There we go. Says it's sent. Let me know if you guys got it.
Uh, Thanks, Netherlands.
I don't know if
Let
I
me.
can post it on this link. If it'll let me post it on here.
I got it.
You
Yeah,
got
do
it.
it.
Of
Okay.
course.
You were a lot quicker than me.
I can find it a lot quickly. You mind us showing it, Chris?
No, go ahead, go for it.
All right.
Um,
Share screen.
this was
It,
actually like this was neat only because of honestly, like I've never really captured um, what appeared to be like an actual footprint. There wasn't one. There was multiple footprints. If
Yeah,
you
you
look
can
through there,
right
that's
yes.
here, there,
yeah,
Yeah.
there.
that's that's my foot in comparison to those footprints. So you can see the difference.
Yeah, it's a child. Definitely.
Yeah,
Oh, it's amazing. And
That
you
is
can
cool.
even see the toes.
Yeah,
yep,
it's right here.
Yeah.
you can see the toes.
Hmm,
It was definitely probably like one of the coolest captures I think I've ever really gotten.
that is
Um,
amazing.
yeah, and this came followed by like hearing the children coming up the steps, and sure enough, the footprints kind of tracked back to the way that we thought we heard it.
Yeah,
Um, but
cool.
definitely,
That was really cool.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Where we go? Ah, there we go.
And
Love
you
it.
can't
I'm off
like
the screen.
I tried to debunk that as much as I could, and I couldn't debunk it. Like there's no kids there with the investigation.
No,
It was
especially not
neither
barefoot.
right, especially that building. That building was pretty old and kind of dilapidated. Um, so, but
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
hard one to explain. But that's cool.
It
yeah,
is.
definitely cool.
Love it. Love it.
You're making me jealous.
A bit. But I love evidence like this.
Oh yeah.
Let me think. Everyone has its favorite equipment to use during investigations. I'm sure you have them too. I heard you about the 360. But what equipment would you never, ever use?
Would never use.
Never use.
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, honestly, I would try everything once. But one of the equipments I'm really not a fan of is the Ovilus, to be honest with you, because there's just so many ways that it can be debunked. There's no actual possibility of being able to positively say 100% this was paranormal and not picked out of the library that it actually has built in. Um, that's honestly one of the equipments that I probably would never use. Because like I said, there's just so many variables um, leading up to it that doesn't give you that 100% answer of whether or not it was paranormal.
Yeah.
The only time I would ever honestly use it if I'm along with any other equipment, if I'm using it alongside of something else that can kind of match the response or give you that what's the word I'm looking for? Give you that reliability of that actual device saying something that's paranormal related. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Some sort of a validation. I mean,
yeah, right. The validation. Yeah, that's kind of the word I was looking for. Um, yeah, as long as you have some sort of validation, and that goes along with any device too. Like any device that you use, you always want to have a second device alongside of it or something like that that can kind of validate what one's doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um, but what about you guys?
Uh,
something I never use. I think
that's
it's going to be the ghost tube.
SLS.
Yeah,
SLS. That's a good one.
as
I
less
always
maps
use,
everything.
yeah, yeah, some apps, but I've seen some videos use Ghost Tube, and well, the responses were interesting.
Yeah, but that's something like you said. SLS. I wouldn't use it as long as it's moving. I would use it to put it in a room completely empty, no furniture, nothing. Set it there. See if there's no capture of images or whatever, because it's always trying to map something. But I will believe it as soon as it's in a room for an hour. It mapped nothing, and all of a sudden something's there after an hour or so. Then I would start to believe it. But like I said, as Les tries to map everything, so if he finds a dot, he will automatically put a picture in there.
That's interesting. It's funny you say that because that's one of the things that I've always like done too. I've tried to look at different equipments and how they work. Like I always try to get into like the nitty gritty of like how does this work? Why does it do what it does?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the SLS, I don't know, a lot of people don't realize, but the SLS is actually designed to look for specific points to create that stick body or the stick figure. Um, and it's mainly more meant to be used as a stationary device other than a mobile device. A
Yeah.
lot of people walk around with it and they're like, oh man, look what I captured here, look what I captured there. But you don't realize that device is actually looking for these different points and actually trying to create something out of those points that it's looking at. And
Yeah.
anything such as the reflection from like a window, reflection from a glass, reflection from the actual like finish of a furniture would cause that false positive. Um, which is why like I'm with you there, Shane. Like if I ever use an SLS, I would use it stationary, and it
yeah,
has to be in a room for a good amount of time without getting any false positives.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that includes people being in that same room. Just leave it there. Put a
Yep,
camera on there and just go.
yep. That I've owned and made several of my own. And the only time I ever really had a really good experience was at a location in Pennsylvania. We actually left it. It was the location was from the 1800s. We left it in the hallway by itself while nobody was up there. Probably for a good, I think it was close to 6 hours. And in the middle, like right around like 3 hour mark, you see this weird anomaly captured. It doesn't pick it up as a stick figure, but you can actually see the anomaly captured through a hallway, making its way to the camera. And I had it on tripod at the time. It actually bumped into the tripod, and you actually see the SLS moving back and forth as if it was almost getting ready to fall.
Wow.
Um, But that was, yeah, I think that's probably the only one, the only good evidence I've ever gotten with an SLS camera.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
hard to get.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, yeah. I think honestly that the best way to investigate that I've found, at least for me, is typical camera and a recorder. I mean, you can't you can't go wrong with that.
Nope.
It,
Back to
you,
basic.
yep.
Yeah,
You validate yourself with it. Um, One of the other devices that I would use, obviously with another device, would be a millimeter,
Oh
only
yeah.
because you have like a multiple way of gathering the information. Now, what I am looking for, and I really want to start using, which I can't find one anymore, is the EDIs. The EDIs are it's the EDI. I think is a good tool to have because it actually records, any vibration, any temperature in the room, anything that
yeah,
triggers it. And that's kind of like what I've been wanting to get more into is more of the scientific aspect of the investigations, like what causes the activity.
yeah,
What's
Yeah.
that temperature like? What's the atmosphere like at that time when the activity's happening?
yeah,
That I do believe that the atmosphere and the weather and pretty much whatever that time when you get that activity, like that whole scenario it has to be based on something, and there's something there that's actually triggering that activity. What that is, I don't know, and I'd like to find out.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. We are about the same.
yeah,
Yeah, what's changing in the environment, uh, even in molecules, temperature, uh, everything what we can measure, we try to measure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
And that's something that you don't see a lot of people doing. Everybody just goes there, investigates, get their content for TikTok, YouTube, and all that, and they leave on
Yeah.
to the next. You know what I mean? But
That's what we call paratainment.
exactly,
It's very interesting to watch, but
but it's also fun to do.
yeah.
it is.
Just go into a location and have fun and ghost hunt and do, yeah, all the stupid
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
make the ghost angry and then just leave.
yeah,
Yeah, for another group to make it up again
yeah,
Yeah,
or get screwed over. Depends on
yeah,
how you look at it.
yeah,
yeah. True.
yeah. It is fun. We are at the end already.
Yeah, went way too fast.
Yeah, it was a blast. Thank you guys for having me on. It's been fun hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming on.
yeah,
Thank you for the invite. This is like you guys are like my first podcast that I've done outside the US. It's cool.
Well, you're always welcome.
yeah. If you have a few fun documentaries and you want to talk about it and amazing captures, just let me know. We are following you on
Awesome.
TikTok, so I see it pass by.
Yep.
I share out, and if it's interesting enough, just come back.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, December 15th, I think. December 15th. If I'm not, if that date changes, I'll let you know. But I'll be releasing my documentary for the Clifton Theater that I just recently did. It's actually a cool documentary. It's about the actual location. And I released it for the first time in the actual movie theater. So it was played in the movie theater screen of the actual movie theater we investigated, followed by a paranormal investigation that we did right afterwards, which was
Wow.
honestly like neat. It was cool. But that should be getting released here on the Signal Network soon. So I hope you guys watch that and enjoy it. It took me almost a year to put together, but it's definitely cool.
Well, you need to send
Cool.
us the link so
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can share out for you, and we will watch it, of course.
awesome. Well, thank you guys, and like I said, if you guys need anything, I'm always one message away.
Yeah, well, we will keep in touch about the case we will have in the future, in the
Yeah.
near future, with the
Abs-
animal mutilation, because now I want to know, of course.
I
And
got you. I'll send you all the information I can find on that too.
that would be amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys
Well,
for having me on.
it's a blast. I will drop you in the back and talk to you in a minute. We will close off and just talk some more.
Awesome. Thank you.
Let
See you
me
guys.
see if I can handle it with my new nails. Yes. Well,
Love new nails.
yeah, my new nails. Everyone, thank you for watching and participating in the chat.
Yes,
Kelvin, I saw your message. I will get back to you if I talk to Shane about it.
of course.
Everyone who is looking at rerun, thank you for joining and watching. All the links to find Chris Mendace you find in our event.
And on the description in YouTube.
Yeah, and on
Yep,
YouTube we put it beside it, and it will be on Spotify in about a month,
something
so
like that. Yes.
you can listen to it again. Next week we are back with my favorite.
I don't have my agenda, but it's probably mischief.
Yes, and lots of laughter, a
Oh
lot of
yes.
bullshit. Um, don't
Join in, ask questions, even if it's dumb questions, because we don't
Yeah,
have
it
dumb
is,
questions.
and we
We
make
only have dumb answers. We can
Yeah,
do that.
exactly. And we don't mind our language, so just join in and watch us next Wednesday.
Yeah. And if you don't want to hear all the cursing and everything, wear earplugs because there's gonna be a lot.
Yeah,
Always.
exactly. Well, thank you for watching again. See you
Yes.
next week. And we do the Wayne microwave.
Ah, I'm ending it. Ah,
Oh, you will drop in the video as well?
will I drop in the video?
Yeah,
I can
just
drop in the music.
okay.
Can I do that? I don't know. Can I do that?
I
Oh,
think
I can still do it. Still in there. Oh,
yeah.
that's Paranormal Mischief. That's the wrong one.
Okay.
Oh, we'll put in Paranormal Mischief. Whatever. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Microwave.
Bye.
Whispers in the hallway walls. Shadows move, but no one calls. A cold breath tickles the back of your neck. What's that? What's next? Knock, knock at the midnight door. Knock, knock, but it's not folklore.